A recent survey in the UK found that 56% of drivers think they've been scammed or overcharged by a mechanic. Even worse, 1 in 4 said they'd rather drive a faulty car than deal with a garage they don't trust. That's how bad it's gotten. In this video, we show you how some mechanics push fake brake warnings, tire lies, and sneaky charges to make extra money. If you drive, you need to see this. It could save you hundreds. Every garage needs to make a profit, but there's a difference between fair pricing and being taken for a ride. Some mechanics charge far more than they should, either for the parts or for the hours of work. Here's how it works. The garage buys a part for £50 but charges you £150. Or they do a job in 30 minutes but they bill you for 2 hours. Most people don't know what a part should cost or how long a job takes, and that's what they rely on. You might even get billed £100 to replace a simple bulb. Yes, it's happened. And unless you question it, you pay without realizing the job should have cost a fraction of that. This can happen at big dealerships, where hourly labor rates can hit £100 or more, but smaller independent garages can be just as sneaky, quoting low-cost parts but adding extra time on the job. So, what can you do? First, look over your quote or invoice. If you see a brake caliper listed at £300 and that seems high, trust your gut. Also check the labor time. If you're billed 5 hours for a task that should have taken 1, something's off. Before agreeing to work, ask for a full breakdown. Parts, hours, VAT, everything. Then do a quick online check or call another garage. How much does this part cost elsewhere? How long should the job take? Garages use standard book times for most repairs. If one garage says 4 hours and another says 1 for the same task, question it. And remember, you don't need to be an expert. Even a quick Google or phone call can reveal a clear overcharge. Honest garages won't mind questions. They'll explain why a part costs more. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Your CV gator is torn, the drop links are shot, and the discs are pitted. We'll need to replace the caliper assembly. Wait, what? It sounds serious, but you have no idea what any of that means. Some garages use complicated car terms on purpose. They want to confuse you so you nod along and agree to expensive work, even if you don't understand it. This trick works because most drivers aren't mechanics, and when people feel embarrassed or overwhelmed, they're more likely to say yes just to get it over with. Sometimes the jargon is real. Modern cars are complex. But if the mechanic talks in a way that feels fast, confusing, or patronizing, it might be deliberate. They might be using big words to sneak in work that you don't need. A clear explanation should sound like this. Your brake pads are worn down and need changing. Not, the friction material is below minimum threshold, risking overextension of caliper pistons. So, what can you do? Ask questions. Just say, sorry, I don't understand that. Can you explain it more simply? A good mechanic will gladly break it down or show you the problem on the car. If they don't, walk away. Also, a little learning goes a long way. You don't need to become a car expert. Just knowing the basics, like what brake pads or filters do, makes you harder to trick. There are plenty of simple guides online to help you understand what garages are talking about. You drop your car off at the garage. A few hours later, you get a call. The job's done. They tell you they replaced the brake pads and changed the oil. You pay the bill, collect your keys, and drive off, thinking everything's sorted. But what if they didn't do anything at all? This scam is sneaky. Some garages charge you for parts they never installed. You think you've got new brake pads, when in fact, the old worn ones are still in place. Or they say they changed your oil, but really they just topped it up and pocketed the rest of the fee. How do they get away with it? Easy. Most car parts are hidden under the bonnet or beneath the vehicle. Unless you're a mechanic yourself, you're unlikely to check it, and they know that. People often realize too late, when the same part fails again far too soon. That's when it hits. The job was never done in the first place. Want to protect yourself? Start with this simple rule. Always ask to see the old parts. In the UK and across Europe, you have the right to take them home. Most honest garages will show them without being asked. If they refuse, that's a warning sign. You can even use a simple trick. Before you take your car in, mark the part that's supposed to be replaced. A tiny scratch or a dot of paint will do. Then check after. If the mark is still there, they didn't change it. And if you ever catch a garage doing this, don't walk away. Report them. It's not just dishonest, it's fraud. You call a few garages to get quotes. One say, we can do the job for £200, no problem. It's the lowest price, so you book it in. But when you return, the bill is £500. What happened? This is a classic trick. Some garages offer a cheap quote to get you through the door. Then once your car is in pieces, they tell you about extra work they found. They say a part was more expensive than expected, or they claim something else needed fixing. Either way, you're stuck. And they know it. They might not even call to warn you. You just get hit with the final bill and have to pay to get your car back. So how do you avoid this? First, beware of quotes that seem too good to be true. If most garages are charging £350 and one offers £150, ask yourself why. Next, get the quote in writing. A proper garage will have no problem listing parts, labour, and VAT up front. You can even write a note yourself saying, "Do not exceed X pounds without my permission." Also, ask this simple question before you hand over the keys. If you find something else, will you call me first? A good garage will always ask before doing extra work. And finally, look for fixed price fees. Many garages offer standard rates for common jobs, like oil changes, brake pad replacements, or MOT prep. These are harder to manipulate and help you keep control over the final cost. You went in for a simple service, maybe an oil change or a brake check, but suddenly the service advisor returns with a long list of urgent extras. We recommend an engine flush, a coolant replacement, a brake fluid change, maybe a fuel system clean as well. Now your basic visit is turning into a full overhaul and a hefty bill. This happens a lot, especially in dealership garages and large chains. They often have targets to hit, so the more extras they sell, the better. The problem? Many of these services aren't needed yet or at all. They'll use technical jargon to make it sound important, or they'll mention safety risks. This could cause major problems if you ignore it, but that's not always true. Some parts and fluids last much longer than they claim. For example, many modern coolants last 7 years or more. Brake fluid often needs changing every 2 years, not every visit. And things like engine flushes or aircon treatments are usually unnecessary unless there's a specific problem. Want to stay in control? Learn your car's service schedule. It's in the handbook, or just look it up online. If they suggest something your car isn't due for, just say no. You can also ask, why are you recommending this? If they can't give a clear reason, skip it. And if they say it's a limited time offer, be extra cautious. If you didn't need it before, you don't need it now, even at half price. When in doubt, say you'll think about it, then check it later or ask someone you trust. You go in for something small, maybe a slow puncture, maybe just a routine service. The garage offers a free brake check. Sounds helpful, right? Next thing you know, the mechanic comes out with a serious face. "I wouldn't drive it like this," he says. "Your brake pads are 80% worn and your discs are warped. We can fix it today for £400. You freeze. You hadn't noticed anything wrong. The car still stops fine. No screeching, no warning lights. But what if he's right? What if your brakes really are that bad? That's exactly how the scam works. Because when it comes to brakes and tires, people panic. They're safety critical, and garages know it. A few technical words, a little urgency, and suddenly you're paying for work you might not even need. In the UK, it's almost a joke at this point. People online talk about certain big-name chains where no matter why you walk in, you somehow always walk out with a brake job. It's become their specialty. But here's the truth. Not every urgent repair is real. Let's talk about brake pads first. Brand new ones are usually around 12mm thick. Mechanics generally recommend changing them at around 3mm. The legal limit for an MOT? About 1.5mm. Yet some garages say you need new ones when you're still at 5 or 6mm. That's not dangerous. That's early. Same for brake discs. Over time, they wear and get a slight ridge on the edge. That's normal, but many garages use that as an excuse to say they're warped or dangerously worn, when they're actually still above the minimum thickness. Now tires. Same trick. The legal limit is 1.6mm of tread. Most people replace them at around 2 to 3mm for better grip, especially in rain. But some places say, they're nearly bald, you're not legal, and they offer to fit new ones right away, at a tidy profit. The problem is, most drivers don't carry a tread gauge or know what 3mm even looks like. So they trust the mechanic, and the mechanic might just be selling, not helping. So you agreed to the work, and the repair sounds fair. But then you see the invoice, and suddenly your bill has grown. Environmental fee, £15. Shop supplies, £7. Admin charge, £10. None of this was mentioned earlier. These mystery charges can quietly add 10 to 20% to your bill. It's a sneaky trick. Many garages just hope you won't notice. Now, to be fair, some of these fees are real. Garages do pay to dispose of oil or coolant, but these costs are usually small and part of running a business. If they're clearly mentioned up front, fine, but when they're added without warning, it feels like a mini scam. Dealerships are especially known for this. They might charge £5 to top up screen wash without asking, or swap a light bulb and charge for the bulb and fitting, even if you never asked for it. Yes, it's nice to have it fixed, but maybe not at that price, and not without your okay. Another example, the computer diagnostic. Some garages plug in a scan tool, check a warning light, and then charge you an hour's labor without asking first. Where's the line between helpful and cheeky? It depends on how they handle it. That's why it's so important to read your invoice carefully. Look for vague charges like sundries or shop materials. Often these are just code for extra markups on rags and oils. And always check if VAT is included. UK law generally says consumer quotes should be VAT inclusive, but small print might say plus VAT. If you see an unexpected fee, speak up. Ask, what's this for? A lot of the time, if you question it, they'll remove it, a sign that they never really had to charge it in the first place. If you like this video, don't forget to check the next one, the dark truth about auto stop start system nobody talks about. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.